So first thing today is, what is anthropology all about? If you want to break the word down into linguistic nuts and bolts, anthropology comes from the roots anthro, meaning human, and pologia, meaning to study. So anthropology means the study of humans. But more than just that, anthropology is about studying humans throughout all time, understanding our thoughts, behaviors, and history, and the things which make us distinct both from each other and other organisms. Now, how is anthropology in the United States distinct from how anthropology is practiced around the world? One of the main methods practiced worldwide is looking at anthropology in terms of structural functionalism, which involves looking at social structure in terms of its functional parts. This can be as simple as deducing that a society learned to fish because they live near water, or as complex as how something everyday, like say a cow, becomes religiously revered due to its importance to the everyday lives of the people. However, in the United States, we use an approach known as the Four Fields method. By this method, anthropology is divided up into four main areas of study: physical biological, archaeological, cultural, and linguistic anthropology. Each field has its own unique methodology and sub-areas of study. Now, one question this science and all these methods are trying to answer is, what is culture? A good general definition would be that culture is a body of learned behavior shared by a group of organisms, passed down from generation to generation non-genetically. However, culture is much more complex than just this definition. Culture can be as overt as how you use the language you were born with, or as subtle as how close you stand to the people you speak to. Human beings are not the only ones known to have culture. Some species of apes, such as chimpanzees, are known to pass down methods of tool-making, and this is culture as well. A cultural practice may be a conglomerate of methods developed by other cultures many years previously. Culture is what distinguishes different people around the world. Every society has a culture, but being a part of a culture is more than just where you're from. Immigrants to new countries may still identify with where they come from, even though they no longer live there. On the other hand, when they move, they may choose to abandon their old cultural practices and adopt the mainstream culture of the new country. One cultural phenomenon that could be studied through the lens of anthropology is the variation on written English known as texting or SMS language. In many contexts, SMS language is considered an inappropriate or inferior method of communication, when in reality it may prove otherwise. SMS is a kind of short-form language that uses abbreviations, substitutions, and symbols to communicate a message in as few characters as possible. It has been criticized for being unable to properly convey the emotional intention of a message, though it has a method to account for this known as emoticons or smileys. In general, it is criticized for being bad English, and in most institutions it is considered an inappropriate writing form for certain purposes, particularly in academia. Tools to research this subject would be somewhat varied. An ethnographic report could be constructed through participant observation. That is, people would be engaged in online or text conversations. Their responses would be documented and analyzed to gather empirical data. Also, a survey could be generated for an online community such as Facebook to gather more data for process. Overall, anthropology is a diverse, complex science. Between the multiple approaches to researching it and the complicated subject it attempts to research, understanding something like culture becomes very difficult. However, this highly involved science yields many interesting topics of study, be it SMS language or otherwise, and contains great potential for learning about oneself, one's culture, and one's species as a whole.